Most remodelers think that leadership is about staying involved in everything. If I don't touch it, it won't get done right. If I don't manage it, it's gonna fall apart. And here's the thing, I used to think the same thing. And I used to think that only I could do it right. Nobody else could do it. I had to be really the one to do it at the end of the day. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. And not only that, but it actually caps the growth of your business by you having this mindset. So let me explain to you what strong leadership really looks like in a remodeling business. The first thing is that management fills the gaps for where structure is missing. Structure is always something that we're going to have to work on as business owners, but when there's a lack of structure, that's where management comes in. It can help out and fill in those gaps that are missing. If every task comes back to you and you have to make every single decision, that's typically not a people problem. That's a lack of structure and clarity problem. So in order to get rid of all those decisions coming back to you, or a majority of those decisions, you need to create clarity and set expectations for your team. I found this with my own team, that when I said, hey, go ahead and get this task done, go ahead and do this thing, a lot of times they would come back to me with questions. They would say, well, hey, what do you want me to do here? Especially if I said, okay, go ahead and get this content edited and let's put it on social media. Well, I didn't tell them what content to edit. I didn't tell them when to get that content posted by and who we're trying to talk to in that content. So how could they know what to do? So of course they came back to me, okay, well, when do you want that done by, Philip? Who are we talking to in this content? What's the context behind this? Who do we want to target, and what do we want to make sure the pain point that we're pointing out? They would ask a lot of questions, and that's probably the same thing with your subs. You would tell them to show up for a job. We're going to do a bath remodel. Okay, well, what are we doing on that bath remodel? Are we gutting the whole thing? Are we just updating and putting in new tile? Are we doing if there's a bath and a shower, are we doing the shower, the bath? Are we doing both of them? There's questions they're going to be asking because you didn't create that clarity and that structure of here's what you need to get done. They don't need to be told what kind of grout they need to put in for the tile or what tools they need to have when it comes to taking out a bath, but they do need to know what they're doing so they can have the right tools. And so when you lack this structure and you lack an actual management team, you become the decision maker in everything. So make sure that you create structure and start to build up a management team or a team lead in order to be able to have them make decisions so you're not always the one making those decisions. The second thing is that leadership is about clarity, not control. A lot of times when we give up things, when we hand off tasks to somebody else and hand off that ownership of projects, it comes with us losing a little bit of control. And that's something that you have to realize, that you are going to lose a little bit of control because now somebody else is taking that control off your plate, which comes with taking the decisions. But how you keep a lot of that control is by telling them what matters, what good looks like, and what should happen next. You want to give boundaries when it comes to handing off a project. Again, you probably have some standard when you go in and do something like a bathroom remodel where you know you want the tiles to be a certain way. You may have some weird thing, some quirk that you want tiles to be turned at a 45-degree angle or something, rather than when you're stepping into the shower that the tiles would be facing you, and obviously the other way if they're square tiles, but you want them at more of like looking like a diamond whenever you're coming in. So imagine instead of a box like this, it's a diamond when you're looking at that. And that's how you want it. But if you don't clarify that from the beginning, this is our standard of how to do it, then your team may do it their own way. And now they don't know what good is because you didn't define that either. Because to you, that was good. That was what was expected. So they need to have that clarity around what the task is in order to actually be able to do a good job and be able to hold the rest of the team accountable, especially as you build up that leadership team. So leadership is about clarity, not control. And when you can focus on making sure that you give those clear expectations, you will be able to see your time reduced on each of those projects of making every single decision. And the third thing that makes a strong leader and what leadership is that if everything waits on you, you are the system. And I had to learn this the hard way, that I would have my team, I'd give them tasks and tell them, here, go ahead and do X, Y, Z. And every time they wanted to come back to me And even as I built in an ops manager, they were still coming directly to me, and I had to create that clarity for them that, hey, you need to go to my ops manager before you come to me, except for maybe a couple of particular tasks that they would come to directly to me on, because I want it to be their firsthand on that for whatever that reason was at the time. But also I had to create the clarity for the ops manager to let her know what was something that she could just make a decision on without me being involved in it, and what she couldn't. And so by having that clarity for her, but also for the team, and saying, here's our new process, here's how we're going to do this, it allowed me to be able to get out of the decisions and stop being the system itself. And I do want to encourage you, because a lot of you are probably at this point where you are the bottleneck. You are the ones that are making most of the decisions, and you're still kind of the system, so to speak, of your business. It doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. So many business owners out there are doing that, where they become the system, they become the decision maker and the bottleneck. But there's a better way. And you have to start shifting your mindset to being one of thinking of workflows, thinking of processes, and giving that clarity. Think of how you're communicating everything. Because if you're just communicating enough for somebody to kind of get started but not really do anything, you're not communicating enough. If you don't have your systems in place, you don't have those standard operating procedures of how things are done and what done means, you're not going to be able to get out of that either. And so if you're feeling stuck and feel like you're managing instead of leading, we help remodelers work through this kind of structure every day. Leave us a comment with your questions on how to lead better, and we'll answer them either in the comments or on another episode. And make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can continue to learn more about leadership in the home remodeling space.